HIV affects my love life in a variety of ways. It's, I'm a gay man, and I'm a complicated man. And I think that if I'm being really honest with you, I'm a difficult man to love. I'm persnickety, I'm moody, I can be calculating, and somewhat manipulative at times. And often I feel rather entitled. And that makes for a very interesting cocktail when it comes to who I am and what I bring to the table. That's before you add HIV to the mix, you understand? So, I have requirements, I'm an educated man, and I want to be challenged mentally. And so I need a smart guy. But with all of that being said, coming to the table and presenting yourself with all of my complications and then saying, oh, and by the way, I'm also HIV positive. It's never easy. But it is something that when I am embarking upon a serious relationship, I always have that conversation, always. I sometimes disclose and sometimes do not disclose my HIV status. It depends on the situation. Now, presently, I am in sort of an interesting scenario, a complicated relationship of sorts that I've been in for about 3 years. We'll get into that in a minute. But before I was in said relationship, if I was just out and about and I found myself about to engage in what we would call a one-night stand or a trick, then chances are I would not disclose. But then I also there are certain sexual acts that I wouldn't participate in, which I would never do with someone that I was just engaging with one time anyway. But I always use protection because I look at it like this: you have to treat everyone as if they were positive, and you work from that perspective if you start there. But also, you have to bear in mind that I am undetectable, and so that means I am untransmittable. You equals you. So, because I am non-detectable, you cannot contract the virus from me. It's just not possible as long as I'm under care. I feel that HIV, it sort of helped my relationship with respect to the present relationship that I'm in, that I've been in for about 3 years. I am involved with a wonderful man who is considerably younger, and we encountered one another at a time where I was mired in the muck of incredible illness, one after the other. I was in a coma for 2.5 weeks. I almost died. I had a triple heart valve transplant. I had 2 TIAs, which are mini strokes. I lost the ability to walk for several months. I've been in rehab to learn how to re-walk again. And this young man came along, and for all intent and purposes, he could have had anyone he chose, but for some odd reason, he chose me. And I'll be forever grateful to him. And I hope he knows that. I love him more than I've ever loved anybody. Because I've always thought myself to be a pretty fabulous individual. And I know it sounds really crazy because, maybe I'm speaking in terms that sound contradictory because I started off by saying how persnickety I was and I am and I am all those things. But don't get me wrong, I know I'm a pretty fabulous individual as well. Or at least I used to believe that with every fiber of my being. And those of you who know me know that to be the case. But what ended up happening is the vessel began to break down in a variety of ways that the mind had not, certainly the spirit had not, or my soul. And when I felt most depleted, he came along and he supported me, literally carrying me sometimes. Wow. And I thank him. I thank him. Love is hard. I tell people, same sex, same problems. It really doesn't matter what side of the field that you play on, whether it's hetero, bi, or homo, sex. The problems are universal. You have petty arguments, jealousies, who's vying for control, the insecurities step in often. I sometimes worry that, somebody younger, sexier, cuter, more agile, more able-bodied will come along and snatch him up. However, a very wise friend told me once, he said, because he used to call me pretty, he'd say, hey, pretty. He said, don't doubt your powers. Don't doubt your powers. I would say that the problems that I've experienced in pursuing relationships with this affliction has just been the fact that when you do find yourself attracted to a particular individual, you also then have to take into consideration that in addition to wondering if they're going to be interested in you, now you got to throw the curveball of, hey, do you like me? Also, I got this little friend with me. His name is HIV. Can he come along? Because, he's got to. he's a part of the package. And so that makes it hard because, we all play that game. Oh, will he like me? Does he like me? Do I look good enough? Am I thin enough? Am I big enough? Am I, am I smart enough? Am I funny enough? Am I sexy enough? Am I, just, and then you throw HIV into the mix, and it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. But don't feel sorry for me because, I think that there are people in all walks of life with a variety of other issues, circumstances, and afflictions that could say the same thing, But I just try to present the most authentic Jerome, the realest me that I have to offer. Difficult though it may be, I just push through it. And like I said, I'm fortunate because at the present, I have a situation that 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 works, and we're open, and we're good. We're good. HIV affects having relationships with people, especially relationships that move beyond the realm of intimate, loving relationships like sexual relationships. When I look at the relationships with my family, especially my family, uh, this disease for me has been most difficult in navigating relationships with my family, especially my immediate family, my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, my aunts. Um, One, because on both sides of the family, I had uncles who lived with this disease and died from this disease, unfortunately. And so everyone has been down this road before. And here I am presenting them with a do-over. Now, I'm fortunate because I have beaten the odds. One, because both of my uncles, they died in their 30s from this disease. I am now, thankfully, 46. And despite what you may have heard, I have no intention of going anywhere anytime soon. Um, but I can see it like, in my mother or my aunt's eyes. I can see sometimes when they look at me, they see Tracy, that they are reminded of the pain and the anguish and the suffering and the wasting and the watching, sitting vigil like they did as he faded away on that Thanksgiving night in '93. Uh, um, wow. I am working really hard to be as healthy and as positive and as upbeat as I possibly can, because I'm determined to live as full and complete and powerful a life as I possibly can, to show them that I have this disease, but it doesn't have me. I want to change the narrative, because for them, they saw he was diagnosed, he immediately got sick. It was almost like he was fine until he got diagnosed. And then he got sick. And then he got sicker. And then he died. And this all happened within a 4 to 5 year period. And granted, I got diagnosed. And I got sick. And yes, I did almost die. But I didn't. So I already changed the narrative. And I believe that God kept me here for a reason, for a purpose. And part of it is why I'm sitting in this chair right now talking to you. The advice that I would give to a young person or a newly infected person with respect to how they confront their relations with respect to this disease would be to be honest, to include your friends, family, and loved ones, and your intimate partner. Get tested together, know your status, absolutely, and walk everyone with you in the journey. I have been to the doctors with my mother, with my father, with my sister, with my aunt. They all know them. My doctor, they know her, Dr. Kambadi. She is an extended member of this family. They are included in the conversation. I don't keep anything from them, the good, the bad, the ugly. And that's important because I take a lot of medication. It's important to have other people in the know. It's just like your parents getting older. You know, I have parents who are both almost 70, and a mother who has dementia. I have to become more proactively involved in her caregiving. I have to be intimately familiar with her care protocol because she may very well forget sometimes. And so the same goes for me. I like to keep my family as apprised of what's going on with me as I am because something could fall through the cracks. My advice is have your friends, your family, your partner, your wife, your spouse, your husband, have them walking this journey next to you, beside you. Do this together because I believe that in so many ways, even though I'm the one with the disease, it's a shared experience. Trust and believe. My family, they're walking with it too.